Well, good evening, Star Wars fans. It's myself, Dan, coming
Hello,
to you
hello.
live. As always, Jerry's here with me. Say hi,
Hello,
Jerry.
hello. Hi,
Thank you.
Jerry.
And our special guest is, you know what, Jerry? Why don't you announce our special guest? Because you never do it.
We have our set 13 lead designer Gosse from Seattle joining us. I hope
Hello,
I
everyone.
didn't butcher your name too badly there.
No, we didn't go over it in the
No,
rehearsal,
we
so.
didn't.
You helped us out on Slack. You told us a little bit of pronunciation, so we're,
Yeah.
we're, we're not
Yeah.
we're not adverse to getting some help ahead of time. But
Not
anyways, yeah,
really.
thanks everybody for joining us and for another exciting episode of Holotheatre.
It,
Um,
yeah, this is
Go
going
ahead.
to be a fun one. So as you said, he's our set 13 design. So I know normally we have like Chris Kelly, who's the design advocate, come on, but being that we have somebody else in charge of set 13, it's kind of new. It's kind of nice to get. Also, you worked on like a lot of the other sets, correct?
I started out with, I think, the tail end of set 7, and set 8 was the first one I was
Okay.
on from the beginning.
So
Cool.
you've been around a little while, so you've
I think
helped out.
about 4 years, yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
So why don't you sort of tell us how you got into Star Wars cards and how you kind of got involved as a volunteer, sort of your background and all that good stuff. So people
Sure,
can kind of
so-
know who you are.
On a good, I used to live, I relocated to Seattle a year ago. Before that, I lived in the Netherlands where I grew up. And somewhere in my teenage years, I walked past a toy store and I saw Star Wars on a pack. I'm like, what's that? So I walked in and I bought my first booster pack of Premiere. It was either late 1995 or early 1996.
So pretty early on in the game then,
Pretty
yeah.
early on, yeah. But the thing is, I just opened the pack and I looked over it like, whoa, these are cool. Like, I like the image, I like the lore. No idea what this game text stuff is, but hey, let's get another pack for
Figure
more
that out
lore.
later.
I like the knowledge, right? The background information. So that's what I did, and I bought a few boosters and a few starter decks, and spent countless hours going over that miniature rulebook.
A little tiny one, yeah.
Oh, jeez. So
That rule book.
some way at school, high school, I just dropped the fact. Someone was talking about card games and Star Wars. I said, "Oh yeah, I have a box full of those." And he said, "What? You have those?" So I brought them to school, and we opened the box and started going over them and build decks, and that's basically the start of how I started to play. And I think shortly after that, I think A New Hope came out. So I think up until Cloud City Special Edition, I played heavily in high school. Every break, every hour that was canceled, we just would play. Like
Sounds a lot like my high school years, yep.
every morning, you make sure your books are in there, your lunch, and 2 decks, and go.
Yep, that sounds familiar
Yeah.
for sure.
Then university, I started out at Delft University, and there were no people there that played, at least none of that I knew. So my cards just went back into the box. I bought a few, like the 2 starter decks of Death Star 2, and I think that's the last thing I bought. And then a few years later, I relocated to Groningen, which is a city in the north of the Netherlands, and had a night job there while I was studying. And the night job basically meant sit behind a desk and open the door for anyone who comes in, which was virtually no one. And
Sounds great.
this was around 2005, so the Star Wars cards weren't hot anymore. I made a lot of money, relatively, so I used a lot of that money to buy boxes, and I would
To get back in.
I would just sit behind the desk, open a box, and just like the whole table would be full of cards, like alphabetically ordered, so that I had all my sets nicely ordered.
You're getting
night.
paid to open Star Wars cards. That sounds great.
Sort of, yeah.
Well,
So, flash forward, I think 2009, I randomly sent an email to my Star Wars buddies from high school. Say, hey guys, how are you doing? Let's meet up sometime, have a beer, play cards. So I'm not sure how it went with you, but when I got back, it was you drank a few beers, you had dinner together, and you played a 3-hour game. I said, this is cool.
It's a long game.
that is.
Yeah, but it was like deep in the night, and anyway, lots of fun. And then like every 3 months, you start playing again every 2 months, every month. We found out there was not a player nearby, Flores. So the
Okay.
guys I lived with grew up with in Snake are Eric and Stefan.
Okay.
They're not very active on the board, but Erico Basso posts now and then. Dutch
Sounds familiar.
Trader. Dutch
Okay.
Trader is the other guy. So we
Yeah.
used to play a lot. And then Flores Fee on the boards joined. And from there, it just grew. Like we were playing in one of the cafes in Amsterdam, and a guy came by and said, "Hey, I know this game. I used to play this. What is it? What's going on?" And 2 weeks later, he was in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think there was a design contest. No, there was not a design contest. There was an application for the design team for interns for a 1-year position, and I think this was just around set 7, and just like everyone else on the boards, I just sent in an application. I had a few dream cards in the dream cards forum, so I took that theme I had, and I took all the comments I got there, and I just polished up the whole thing, sent it in. I actually think I was on a business trip when I typed that email, and then my manager came back from like the restroom in the in the airplane, and he said, "What are you doing?" Yeah, no, just some hobby stuff. And I thought, fuck, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm
We're
actually writing
PG-13 here.
I'm actually
Everybody
writing
gets-
an application
everybody
on
gets
my managers. Yeah. So I was actually writing an application for not a job, but it felt weird to write an application while your manager's sitting next to you. So then a few weeks later, I got an email back from Matt, who was the design advocate at that time, and he said, "Congratulations, we want to offer you a position." And I like screenshot sent to the Star Wars WhatsApp group we have, and I said, "Guys, look at this."
That's great.
And I think about 2 years ago, Chris offered set lead positions for people who wanted it, and I said I would like one. And I was about to start end of 2018, and then we got the idea for the tweak set. So yeah, it was postponed a little bit, but here we are.
Here we are. All
Here we
right.
are. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts sort of on where the meta is right now? Obviously, you've been involved, like you said, since like set 8. So you've had about the last 4 sets to get things, and one of them was the tweak set, like you said. Big set 12. So how do you think that's landed with the meta, and what are your sort of thoughts on the way the game's playing out right now?
So I think, and I'm not sure how everyone else feels, but it feels like there's a lot of positive comments about it. Of course, you can't have everyone be happy with your product, but so far I think the tweak set was one of the better received sets that we delivered. I think it definitely gave the meta what it needed. I mean, certain decks were so high up on the ladder that every time you would log in for the OCS, you could almost flip a coin. Like it's
going to be Matt, or it's going to be Rob's.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And that's not. I don't think that's fun anymore. If you upfront know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. It should be a little more open.
It should be a little more open. It shouldn't be wide open, because if you can have any deck out of 10, you can't prepare.
Yeah. You definitely need more than like 1 or 2 decks, but something less than like 8 or 9. You know, like
exactly,
a good 4 or 5 decks for each side that match up well and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and then
I feel like
you can have like 5 or 6 cards in your deck that are for that weak matchup to help out, but you don't want to tech 15 cards for random matchups.
Right, that's what defensive shields are for.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I feel like with set 12, obviously it was pretty heavily Darkseid, favored, which is what the meta needed. There's a few good light side cards that did get tweaked, like the Hanshui and the Falcon has seen a lot of play, and but like opening up, ISB, and this deal is getting worse all the time, and just sort of whatever you want with slip siding away has been really, a good influence for sure.
Yeah, and it's always difficult to get that right, because you want a card that opens up certain platforms, but not all of them. And slip sliding was a tricky one, but I think the whole design team is happy with what came out. and I think the player base as well. But it could have you don't want another ATRTs coming out.
I'm going to say this. I really didn't play with the when the ATRTs were there.
It was late in the Legacy era for sure.
I was going to say it was pretty late. I mean, I played with Spice and everything, but I really don't remember. So I say we bring them back for a weekend and see how bad they were.
Well, Legacy format still exists. You can download a master list and do some arts and crafts, and you're done.
I think you can still, you can get it's on the PC download.
It will be on the
master list.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they still are in Holodeck. If you have Holodeck/Holotable, you can at least go in and look at the old Legacy text on there. That's sometimes where I check it out.
I say we bring out Legacy for, I don't know, just for a weekend,
I mean, it would be impossible to code the cards into GIMP. So
no.
I have to be on Holotable or
once all this coronavirus crap is gone, we get together, we all play some Legacy decks. I'm ready to play some missions.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed. There was some good stuff back then, but I'm much happier in the current standard open.
So let me ask you two a question, and if you go back to the Legacy era, what mechanism or what deck type did you like, and what is something you would like to see come back?
Okay. Dan, you want to go first?
I'm going to let you go first here.
Okay, back in Legacy, there's one that a lot of people I think are going to say, which is watch your step virtual. But there's one part about that deck that I did like, and that was the Corellia system, because you could use it in watch your step normally. Not virtual watch your step, and it was sort of broken because if you occupied it with a Corellian every turn, you could activate a force. But I feel like maybe current watch your step could use a Corellia V, and maybe you just make it once during your turn you activate one force, so it's a 2/1, not a 3/1 or something like that. Or just make it a 2-icon system, and then you could be drained for 2 there if you have to lose it or something. I think that's something from Legacy that I wouldn't mind seeing brought back, is the Corellia V system.
Okay. And you, Dan?
I'm gonna say you know what? I think Chris Kelly's probably gonna agree with me. I want to see clones brought back. Sorry, I was reading the chat.
I thought you were going to say San V.
You know what? I'm going to say this.
End of interview.
Yeah, that would have just blown up the channel. No, I want to see I want to see more clones. I want to see the vehicles, the clones, the Clone Wars. I mean, we have so much information now from the Clone Wars. So why not make a clone type of a deck or a Jedi type of a deck from that era? I would love to see.
We have the pieces of some clone stuff with the Camino system and
we have those.
So I think they just need to maybe be a little more fleshed out.
We have the new Plo Koon, we have Depot, we have Kit Fisto. Why not make some more Jedi for that era? I'd like to see a Shaak Ti. She's a really good Jedi from that era. She would be a great one.
General
Skywalker.
Design, right?
How about a General Skywalker? How about somebody make a General Skywalker for once?
General Skywalker. Now that's interesting.
I know.
People have their thoughts about Anakin.
Let me segue from there, and I think, Dan, what you said about having a specific movie or era in mind and design from there. That is the approach we're having with set 13 as well, and we've decided to base it mostly on the Solo movie.
Okay.
So, because it's out, we've seen it. We started somewhere in 2018 with this, and then the tweak set came just in between. But Return of we had the Rise of Skywalker. We weren't sure what would happen, and sometimes when you design cards and what happens if, who would have expected about Hux, right? It's not something you can design about because it was just out there. So we've decided to take a movie that's out there. It's just sort of standalone. We all know what's going on. We all know what happened, but still there's a lot in that movie that can be used.
I mean, even like when Decipher made the Tatooine set, that was still 2 years after Phantom Menace had been out.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, a lot of times people want us to make new stuff right away, but give us time to make it right, and instead of
and that's 100% fair. Like, I like how we took the approach with The Last Jedi. We waited until it came out. We took our time. Everybody knew we were going to get a master or a Jedi Master Luke.
Yeah.
And we took our time. You know, we had the Act 2 site first and everything. We had the Luke. We had the Force projection. We had the objective. And it's like, well, it could have went with Jedi testing, or it could have went this way, or it could have went this way. I like how Legend is. Legend's in a good spot. I mean, it could use a little bit of help because it's one of those decks that
I think it's in a pretty good spot.
It can be, it could go a lot of different ways. It doesn't have like a set direction, whereas like say a QMC
Legend
has.
Legend to me is like light side AOBS. Like, it's really good in the hands of a player who knows how to play it well.
Yeah.
But it's a skill deck for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's also what we aim for at the design team, to have a deck out of the gates that is good, but not overpowered good. Because the whole design team looks at it, and there's people with multiple world titles. So definitely people who know the meta and know how to read new cards and the impact of them. We have the playtesting team, who are also a lot of good players and top tier, mostly tournament winners. So definitely the kind of people you think they could weed out what's going on, right? And still, sometimes something slips through the cracks. And I think it's always best to aim somewhere between tier 1.5, tier 2, and then you can slowly release new cards, see how it develops in a meta as well.
And that's like I like how the PC has looked at cards like 10 Men or Shadows of the Empire, stuff that we release and then we change it as it goes. That's one thing I like about how the PC does over like a game like Wizards of the Coast, who just says, "Oh, this card's banned. You can't play with it anymore."
Yeah, so we have the flexibility to make changes and do what we can. So you had sort of alluded to it with set 13 being sort of solo themed. What sort of, can you tell us about like what sort of themes have you guys been wanting to explore? Like, one thing that's always sort of been in my head about a solo theme set is, what do you do with Darkseid? Because like, I feel like, obviously there's a lot of good light side characters, but I felt like, there's not an obvious, like, this guy's a dark side, this guy's a light side, because they're all kind of like smuggler, gray area. Like, I don't know. Sort of, you go through what you guys are thinking when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so what we did is I chose a shirt especially for the occasion.
Ah, there you go. In it for the money.
So yeah, what we did is, like, you're right, like light side easy, smugglers. And smugglers fit into what your stat. So you have an idea there about what's going on. And if you look at the movie, what I picked up from the movie is it's about a few hotshot smugglers, right? Lando, Han. They're trying to be the better smuggler of the two. They're playing cards, like the high rate, like betting, high stakes.
Right. Gambling.
So we try to come up with a vision before we start designing, and the vision here is, because I'm not a set lead, what I put out is like, let's go for smugglers, and let's translate that high stakes betting game in powerful interrupts, lost interrupts, which what your step obviously can use twice. What else do smugglers do? Smugglers, like, they have contraband, right? They smuggle. They move stuff. So how can we translate that into game terms? Can they move outside of the move phase? Can they move a card from one pile to the other pile? Those kind of things. So we're just toying with those kind of ideas and see if we can come up with a theme, like what happened with the Rebels characters. With 2 Rebels or an Imperial, a clause like that, or what the Rogue One guys have. They have
whenever they leave the table or whatever.
Exactly. So we're trying to come up with a system like that and have some sort of unifying theme across those characters, so that it feels like a set.
Okay, cool.
And then, so with Jerry was saying, Darkseid has a lot of bit of gray areas. I mean, we know we had that Maul was there, and it kind of did incorporate a little bit of the Clone Wars with like Maul going in behind.
And there was almost like some crime syndicate type stuff going on, sort of AOBS. Crimson Dawn, is that what
Crimson
it was?
Dawn.
Or?
So like we can have like a Dryden Voss working with like Maul behind the scenes. Like Dryden Voss could be like an information broker, but I wouldn't put him in like a Black Sun deck because that would get a little crazy. Just saying.
So no, that's a very good point, because every time we design an alien, you have to think, how does this guy work in court, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't want to make a character that fits in your specific deck that you're designing, but because of Scum and court, it becomes overpowered.
Yeah.
But if you adjust his stats, he's no longer playable in your original deck that you're designing him for. So those are all difficult things you have to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like aliens, that the court objective being where it is right now, and it is in terms of a tier 1 deck, but also just every time you design an alien, you definitely have to keep that in mind. That's definitely a good point.
Same goes for light side, of course. Every good light side character or card you design could go into your M. And so
probably will.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at Lady Proxima. She is from Solo. She's from that very beginning of it. We don't see a lot of her, but we know that she's like a gangster, or she's in charge of like the Krillian underworld. Well, she's not. So I mean, I like that she can fit into a court deck. She works with other aliens and everything along that aspect. But you're not gonna. You can't play. Unless you're playing like quietly observing, you're not really gonna see her in like an AOBS deck. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, because that would just be a little crazy, like being able to look at the top 3 cards of your deck with her. But at the same time, she can only go to like the one location, and you're in space.
Yeah.
So
they'd be able to limit her interactions with certain decks because of that limitation. I like thinking about where So from what you said, it's probably safe to say that Light Side Watch Your Step is a deck that's getting a boost from set 13.
Yeah, well,
fingers crossed. We got people in chat saying they want to see a Kessel run.
I'm going to say this: Light Side Watch Your Step could use a really good boost, because we were seeing it with like the LSJK.
That was the deck that was probably most hurt by the like my father errata. Yeah,
you ran like the Jedi Council Chamber, you ran Boss Nass Chamber, and it was pretty much that type of a deck where you're only running your smugglers up in space, and you're doing everything you can to keep Luke alive on the ground. So it was just, it was a good strategy and everything, but it was kind of boring.
But it didn't feel like Watch Your Step.
Exactly.
That's one thing I didn't like about it, is it didn't feel. It felt like TRM with space, because you were just like, well, I hope I get Luke, and I'm going to put him at the thing, and basically it was just sort of like that. But if we're able to get Watch Your Step where we're doing Kessel runs, or we're messing around with some like Sabak or something like you're saying, so I sort of like what I heard. So I'm a huge fan of Watch Your Step. I always have been. So it's in a bad place since the Like My Father errata, and I didn't really even like where it was, with using Luke that way anyway. I like Luke in space and retrieving force and pulling my Dark Lighter spins, and then so I'm excited to see what it could be from that side.
So any smuggler automatically goes into Watch Your Step, right? It slots in. But if you look at Solo, all these guys are, well, there's a few aliens in there as well, right? You have a Wookiee, you have
you got the droid.
Pilot guy who was. Yeah.
You got Rio Durant, who is a species. You have Beckett, who has a species. So if they all go as tested, you would end up with a few additional aliens that would slot into Ancient Watering Hole, which could be played off of QMC or other decks. So
there you go.
Besides automatically slotting into Watch Your Step, they will also find their place in other decks.
And be able to stand on their own instead of just being smugglers. That's always good too, because QMC is a deck that likes those sort of crafty characters that can maybe draw destiny, or they have a cool ability to stick on the table.
Even a deck like Agent in the Court, which can already pull wild card, and that works with smugglers aboard. And if you can also have a few additional species on table at the same time.
And the wild card got a boost in the set 12, where it got a deployment. It used to cost 5 or whatever, now it only costs 3, and so that makes it a lot more attractive to use in certain decks for sure.
Oh, great. So here's my next question, and I think this is going to be the one that's on everybody's mind. What's the time frame we're looking at?
So we work with several deadlines. The idea, of course, is to get cards coded, tested, released. That's the that's the main thing for what the outside world sees. For ourselves, we start theory crafting, we start brainstorming, we start designing, putting out ideas. What would work? Like sometimes you have a very out there idea, and you know it won't work, but still you want to post it because someone else might pick it up and say, "Hey, I like where this is going, but if we translate this or change that, it actually works."
Okay.
And I think that's the strength of the design team. We have a lot of different player personalities. Some people like control decks, some people like scrub decks, some people like mains decks, and I'll leave it up to everyone else to label.
Right. Yeah. It's a good plan.
So anything that I would think is excellent in Watch Your Step, someone else might say, "Oh, this is horrible in that deck," or it would shine in another deck, or it would make this overpowered. So we all balance each other out. And once we have an idea, we start designing and putting ideas out there and stamping stuff as it's called. So 3 stamps means that a card is ready for playtesting, which doesn't mean it's no discussion anymore. Sometimes halfway card B, we think of, hey, card A should be changed as well, and then you go back. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of back and forth.
It's a dynamic process where you can
dynamic process. Yeah, definitely. It's not set in stone as soon as it's stamped. So we have worlds coming up. We have Europeans coming up.
Yeah.
No idea how they will be played, of course. I mean, it might be in person, might be digital, might be whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a unique year for all of the big events.
Yeah,
so to speak,
we did see a big spike in GEMP.
Oh yeah, GEMP had its moment, in the sun for sure.
Yeah.
And it's definitely here to stay, but I will be a lot happier when I can, sit down at a table across from one of you guys and sling some cardboard again. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. I mean, you had your chance at Endor. Why weren't you playing, Jerry?
Yeah, I signed up to do commentary to provide a service for the
commentary.
I played the team tournament with you. I played the team tournament with you, and we got our butts kicked.
You went 0-2. I went 1-1.
I played WAP against 2 court decks.
I played WAP against 2 court decks. I lose because I'm Jerry.
Hey, it's all right. At least I was there. I had fun. It was the last in-person Star Wars tournament I've been to in the last.
Well, I mean, that's the last in-person Star Wars tournament that we've all been to.
I mean, we were.
It might go into the book as the last Star Wars.
Hopefully not. Fingers crossed.
There you go.
We were going to have everybody here in Denver for Nationals in July, and we got that partially planned, and then the world ended. So we'll have that next year. But
hey, according to the news and the government and Twitter, the world's slowly opening up. So we could. I mean, why not have it? I mean, I could sit. You don't have to sit. I mean, we can make the tables 6 feet across, space everybody out, wear masks. You know what? I'll make sure that I bring my one of my either Mandalorian mask or something with me.
Just wear a whole Darth Vader setup.
Yeah, why not?
It's got air purifiers and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would be right now. I would feel okay, doing a local tournament with 10 players or so. If the Team High Ground guys wanted to get together in say June or July for a 6 to 10 person event, I think we could maybe swing something like that. But it's definitely going to be hopefully maybe October for Worlds before we have 50, 60, 70 people. Yeah. Although I heard Disney World is opening on July 11th or something. I read that before the show.
I hope not.
That seems really early to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, I know, Jerry, you're a fan of NHL, and this is going to be sidetracked just for a second. So I know you're well aware of the playoff situation. So, but yeah, I mean, hey, if the NHL is going to play,
I mean, sports with no fans, it makes sense. Obviously, there's a whole lot of hoops they're going to have to go through. But I think they've already started up soccer and some other things over in Europe or whatever. So it's sure, football.
Soccer.
Football.
Pretty good pronunciation there.
Yeah, I speak Spanish. At least
you uncultured American.
All right. Well, I think we've gotten to the point where we can start messing around with some of our usual games and stuff here.
Well, I mean, you don't want to talk about anything more with set 13, like so. We know it's
I
gonna
mean,
be
if
solo.
you have
Is there?
set 13 questions, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, besides solo, is there anything else that you can say? Because, like I said, you said it's basically a solo theme. Is there anything else, like, theme-wise, or?
Yeah, so
like,
the theme is mostly solo movie, so that would mean that a large portion of the set will be dedicated to solo cards, light side and dark side. But of course, there are meta concerns. Decks we want to push back, decks we want to push up, decks we want to give a boost. Sometimes you try to give a solo themed deck, like a quote out of the movie, make it into an effect, and it works with a set of cards. A card like Slip Sliding Away last set was designed to open up a few decks like ISB and Dark Deal, and it works. So those type of cards we're also looking for, like one card that opens up 2 or 3 platforms or possibilities.
Yeah.
We want to minimize the number of cards we release. I mean, if you want, you can release like 100 card sets every 5 months, right? But no one wants that really.
Right, it's like a band. They might write 50 songs for their new record, but they only put 12 of them on there because they know that those are the ones that actually need to be on there.
That's
and then they might hold on to one of those other 2 for a B-side or for a right here or there. But it's all about what they want to focus on. And obviously you guys have your solo theme, you have other themes, and then of course there's always a few player created cards probably thrown in there as well that maybe are just sort of like kind of random because they weren't designed by you guys with the whole theme in mind. So
exactly, yeah, that's what it is. And sometimes a player card comes out and it's like, hey, this could slot in the theme even better if we amend this or that, and then we go back to the player and say, hey, do you mind if we tweak this a little bit this way?
Yeah, it's always good to have the flexibility to go through and make those changes and keep things kind of. So yeah.
Yeah, so expect Smugglers for light side, expect dark side aliens, and a bunch of meta cards. Player cards.
Okay. So are we talking like a big set, little set, medium set?
I would think the same size.
Jerry's ego set.
Oh yeah.
That's huge. So huge.
I would say about 30, 40 cards.
Okay. So maybe like 15 to 20 for each side.
That's a good number.
Yeah. It's the same size as set 12 was. And like Solo had a few additional locations, so location cards are always nice in the sense that graphics can do a really good job on making those. So it makes the set look really good as well.
Yeah. I guess that's if we're talking new locations. I got one really, really, really important question, and this is gonna be make or break for the entire show.
Oh my!
Are you gonna keep Kessel a potato or actually make it into a round planet?
That's a very good point. And you know what? This is actually funny because in high school, when I was just buying those packs, I opened one of them in class, and one of the girls said, "What's this? A potato?"
That's great.
Time out. A girl was interested in Star Wars?
No, she was just looking at my card.
She was interested in potato. I like that.
Wow, yeah, I mean, that definitely was kind of a strange thing when we saw Solo and Kessel was just a regular planet.
Yeah.
For all of us, we were like, no.
Yeah, for like the last 20 years or so, it's been a giant space potato. And I was just like, no, you have ruined Soul. You've ruined Kessel.
That is pretty. I definitely forgot about that until just now.
Right?
That's pretty good.
Okay,
All right.
So it's time. It's time, Jerry. We step away from berating Gosse with a bunch of questions about the set. And we'll travel on into hit or miss, or swing and a miss.
Cards
it's
of the
a
week.
hit.
That's kind of set. You want to do card of the week first or swing and a miss?
We're going to do swing. We always do swing and the miss first.
We do?
Keep it
okay.
consistent.
I'm glad you remember the flow because I don't.
So
all right, and I usually go first.
Yeah, I like you going first.
All right, so our first one for It's a Hit, Swing and a Miss. So after set 12, obviously going into the tweak set, light side was the dominant side. So my question for the first one is, light side is still stronger than dark side overall. Is that it's a hit or swing and miss? We start with you, Gosse.
Let's see. I'd say it's a hit.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. I think that it's definitely a lot closer. It was like 60-40, at Worlds or whatever. But it's probably more like 54 to 47 or 46. However,
that math is
46. I fixed it.
I also think Lightside has had less changes or less shakeup in set 12.
That's a good call.
So people have more like muscle memory about that. It plays relatively the same, whereas Darkseid can still have this like occasional surprise or someone finds something new. So I think Lightside overall is just a little bit stronger at the moment.
Yeah, basically, I mean, No Idea pretty much stayed the same. It just got a little bit worse against some matchups because of the errata. TRM got a different Luke and now plays Saitor. But other than that, it's pretty much that's vote of confidence. Oh, okay, so that's a yes. It's a hit.
Yeah, it's a hit. I'm gonna agree with you.
All right. What's your first one, Dan?
So, Justin, JJD will
Jared
Konsker will win the Jawa Cup again. He won it last year. Will he win it again this year?
Will he? He has a good chance, but the difficult thing with tournaments is sometimes you have like 2 or 3 favorites, and the underdog wins, and sometimes the underdog doesn't do anything at all, just spark a bit. I wouldn't call JJD an underdog, but he's definitely a very good player.
Fresh off top 4 at the NPC.
Yeah,
indeed. I think he would make a very good chance at reaching top 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a hit. I think he's played pretty well in the Jawa Brawl or the Jawa Brawl so far. He might have. Is he already?
He's in the top right now.
Okay, so he's already in the top. So yeah, I like for him to stay there. He's been playing really well lately. He's had that top 2 finish at the. It's backwards for me now. The first one was good, but now that one is backwards.
Yeah, I know. Don't.
Okay.
It's Discord is being a little weird again, but I mean, you said it. He just came off the top 4. He played really well at the NPC.
People in Twitch chat are saying he already went 12-0. So I mean, that's going to be tough. Obviously, SOS could be a difference there, but that's.
And you know what? I'm going to say this. He put together that SSA Dagobah Cave deck that just was wrecking people, especially Diplo. Which everybody's like, oh, this is going to be a great deck. No, that was... And, I mean, if Chris Kelly, who is between him and Jared, because I know they're teammates, the weaker of the two, is saying that it's a hit, I'm going to go with Chris Kelly.
Throwing all sorts of shade.
Oh, we just lost Gosse.
Uh-oh. All right, we'll get it back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll get Gosse back.
We'll get Gosse back, but in the meantime...
Go ahead and go to number 2 on my hits and misses here. So we sort of talked about this when we were talking about set 12 with Gosse. Slip sliding away V is the best thing to happen to Darkseid in a very long time. Is that it's a hit or swing and a miss?
It's a hit. It's Come on. What else is there for Darkseid? I mean, don't get me wrong. The new Maul is pretty good. AOBS is in a really good spot. Proxima's good. I really love. Don't get me wrong. I love Gideon. I love Aura Singh.
Yeah, I'd argue that
SSA is literally the catalyst for so many good decks right now.
The last thing that had this big of an impact on the Darkseid meta was either like ROPS being virtualized or MAP being virtualized. Those came in and immediately made a big splash.
I mean, I agree with the chat. It depends on a really long time. So But you know what? This is our show. We get to dictate what happens.
I'm so bad at specific phrasing, and people always call me out on it. So whatever. It's a hit. Hopefully we can get. Let me see if I think I might have a message from Gosse here. So
he lost internet.
He's having some internet connection issues, so we might not get him back, but we'll finish up the rest of the show.
Yeah, we'll figure it out the rest of the show and everything.
Thanks, Gosse, for joining us.
If you can't come back, we'll figure it out. But for my next one, crap. My next one is Watto is the best deck in the Jawa Cup.
Watto seems like it's been getting a decent amount of hype lately. For Darkseid in the Jawa Cup, you can't play, like Hunt Down, ISB, AOBS, or I feel like there's one more that I'm missing. Court, right? I'll say it's a hit to that. I'm pretty bad with Watto. I've never been a big Watto player, but I know it's in a pretty good spot. I'll say it's a hit to that.
I'm going to say this. I think Watto is probably one of the best Darkseid decks. So, yeah, that's definitely...
I think, people have a hard time playing against Watto because it puts them on such a tempo disadvantage, it sort of... It makes you make decisions faster than you'd want to with losing cards, and just it throws you off your game. And if your deck, if you're good at not letting that bug you,
he might be back.
Okay.
Yes,
hey, you're back.
Hey.
So we're still doing swing and a miss, hits a hit. Watto is the best deck in the Jawa Cup.
Watto,
best deck Jawa Cup.
You guys are breaking up a bit, but I think Watto is in a good spot overall. Not just in the Java Cup. I've seen it in the OCS doing really well.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of saying. Is it feels like it's in a decent spot right now, and maybe what I was saying is people have a hard time playing against Watto. They don't maybe see it very often, and it just sort of it's a high tempo deck that can sort of take you off your game.
It's a pressure in the beginning. Like, do you lose off the top? Do you lose from your hand? Oh, what do I do? Lose a key card? Done.
Right, it can put you with search and destroy. Like there's someone was talking on the forums about that like crazy abusive Watto where you just get like so much damage through so fast. I can definitely see it at least, getting you off your, just messing up your game plan, and you lose a key card off the top, or you lose a Hujix early, and it just is hard to recover. So
I think I like 3 turns later, you're still thinking about it first turn, and like, I did something wrong, and
right, it can stick with you for sure. So I mean, maybe more people playing Watto is good, so that we'll all get more practice against it. But it definitely feels like it's at least tier 2, if not better right now. So
yeah. So we're on Jerry's next question.
All right, so this one's a little less like meta-y, but lately in the last I'm sort of say since the quarantine started, if you follow the Facebook Star Wars group, there's a lot of people who are selling their cards and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight is going for almost $300 and stuff.
Oh really?
On eBay, it's like the prices have sort of ballooned in the last little bit. So my question is, Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight is a $300 card. Is that it's a hit or swing and a miss?
Well, supply is limited, of course, and I think in the end it's supply and demand. It's there's a high demand, and people are willing to pay $300 right now.
Or near, I think 268. I think is one that I saw actually sold on eBay for. It was
I thought it was $250 or so 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
but so
6 months ago they were $120. It's just crazy.
2 years ago they were $40.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean that's because Chris Kelly went out and bought half them out there. So yeah, of course the prices are going to go up. No,
so you can wallpaper his room with them or something.
Yeah. No,
well,
it's not.
I heard someone say you have these checks come out in the U.S., right? So
the
that's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. Literally,
people have more disposable
free money, right?
People are getting
disposable income, but
people are sitting around at home. They're collecting unemployment. They got nothing else to do. So they're like, well, I'm bored. I have all this extra free money. What am I going to spend it on? Oh, hey, I remember this game from my childhood. Oh, wait, there's a Luke that I never had this Luke growing up because it was so rare. I'm going to buy it. It's
as long as it leads to more players playing the game, I'm all in favor. But $300, that's way too much.
And he's not even
$300.
okay unless you're playing like a Hitco or something that, like I said,
They're
Hitco.
good him or.
Oh, okay. Or but you're not going to play him over. You're not going to play him over Luke's the Rebel Scout right now because that card's so much better.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
the other thing is like, so I'm just going to say it. It's like right now with the Nintendo Switch, everybody is buying them up and selling them for like $400 or $500.
We sold 3 this week in the PC store at $275.
Oh, well,
Really?
That's because
That's what.
okay. That's because Chris is going with supply and demand. So yes,
I mean,
This is the new normal, guys.
It's
not
crazy.
the new normal. Okay, so I
it's
mean, okay,
crazy.
the Emperor is a better card right now, and he's not going for nearly that.
He's going for a little bit more
Wow.
than he normally was, but it's definitely like I feel like the
Yeah.
Luke one is more than.
Yeah.
Well, if
but
that's
yeah.
the case, I'm going to say this: I'm sitting on 7 myself. So if anybody wants to buy one for $300, let me know.
All right, what's your next one, Dan?
My next one is people are getting tired of Mind What You Have Learned.
It's a hit.
Oh. You think
Scott, you
like
ruined it for
playing-
everybody.
playing
People are
with it or
always
playing against it?
Scott, you ruined it for the populace, man.
I mean, you know, I have sort of mixed feelings on this because I know people love to play that deck and everything. And honestly, when I first got into playing Star Wars cards back with special edition stuff, it was one of the first light side decks I ever played as well. But
Yeah.
it's like, it's not very fun to play against, and when it's good, it's just no fun to play against. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I understand people like to have their decks, and I have decks that I like that people probably hate playing against too. So I try to be as fair as I can about this, but Mind What You Have Learned is just one of those ones where when it's too good, it's annoying, and when it's bad, it's just slow and annoying to play against. Like, so I don't know. It doesn't bring much enjoyment for me, but.
So I'm going to say this: if we're going to play Mind What You Have Learned, at least bring back Son V.
So they can go first.
Yeah, why not? Next.
Next, all right, this is my last one. So this is sort of in line with my last question about the $300 Lukes. If you were following the PC or like the Star Wars Reddit and Facebook pages, there was this huge cache of like sealed stuff that was sort of uncovered in someone's closet or something, and it sort of definitely caused a lot of excitement. So the PC should buy the huge cache of sealed Endor boxes and all that good stuff that we discovered. Is that it's a hit or swing and a miss?
I think swing and a miss. I think they have better ways to spend their money on.
I think we should try to get some of it. We probably don't need all of it, but there's definitely seemed like there was some good stuff in there. So I'll say it's a hit with maybe an asterisk of we don't need all of it, but maybe a couple Endor boxes or some of the stuff that's a little harder to get.
So
you're
my heart is saying yes because that would make like the Sunday Constellation like sealed events so much more fun.
We could do a lot more sealed events at tournaments.
But at the
Obviously,
same time,
hey,
come on.
pay for it.
I know the PC would be like, oh, we're trying to recoup what we have, what we lost, what we spent on this.
Yeah, because I mean that's like $10,000 for the Star Wars cards or something. Like there was so
I
much.
I will say this though. That guy knows it's going to take a long time to sell that. It really is. So
I bet you someone could make him an offer, but who knows? I'm not as much of a collector, so I don't know the scene as well.
Yeah, it's either money now and you pay less, or you take the time and sell it all piecemeal.
And that's what I think is going to happen. So,
And
like I
Gogolin's
said,
here.
my heart
Chad.
is saying go for it. My head is saying no. Let's make the PC as best as we could. Like, I'm going to say this. Jerry, you need a polo shirt. Gosse, you need a polo shirt. I need a polo shirt.
I have a polo
Every
shirt.
volunteer who is a major position needs their own polo shirt.
All
It sounds
right.
a bit like Oprah now.
You get a van. All right, what's your last one, Dan?
So my last one is going back to set 13. Set 13 is going to be better for the game than set 12.
Ooh, is it a question for me or for Jerry?
But
That's for
it's
both.
both. This is for everybody. And you go
You
first.
go.
I think I would say I think set 12 was quite successful, but it was also focusing on a lot of existing cards. I think set 13 will bring a lot more fresh material into the game, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, set 12 was sort of a very specific set. Obviously, there was some new cards, but it was targeted as a tweak set and to change things that were already going on more than it was to introduce new cards to the meta. So with set 13, I think it'll be kind of like, honestly, hopefully it's for you guys as design, it's like sort of a breath of fresh air that you don't have to deal with ROPS and map and Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight being everywhere and stuff. So maybe you're able to flex your design muscles in different areas.
We always have to take those cards and those decks into account, of course, when we design something new, because you don't want to design something for deck A and then 5 months later see it up in deck B and make that deck overpowered. So, yeah.
So I'm saying yes, it's going to be better just because the lead designer of the set is on our show, and I know Chris Kelly was the lead designer for set 12, and it's always fun to make fun of him.
There you go.
That's it.
But outside of that, you know what? I'm just excited. More Star Wars cards equals more fun.
Heck yeah, I'm definitely excited to see, like, you know, I'm hopeful that Watch Your Step will be a light side deck back to tier 2, tier 1, and see some maybe new ways to play it with some new ground characters or something like that. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to. So,
same here.
Okay, so that is swing and a miss. It's a hit for this week. Or
woo!
I literally found my cards for Secret Hitler, Secret Palpatine today, and I was just like, "Oh, that sounds fun." Let's go on to Card of the Week.
We're going
to start with Jerry because he's light side, and why not?
Yeah, light side should go first, right?
Always.
My Card of the Week is Captain Han Solo from the Cloud City set. Sort of going with my Watch Your Step theme from this week. I've been trying to build Watch Your Step and play it maybe for Jawa Cup at least. And Captain Han Solo, number one, I've always really loved the picture on this card. Like the image of Han right when he's getting frozen or whatever. It's always been a big fan of that one. His game text, you know, obviously he's a little limited. He can only deploy on the Falcon or to Hoth or Cloud City. Yeah. But when you're playing Watch Your Step, deploying him on the Falcon is you know where he ends up going. And the pay 2 to redraw text is you know just super good. And he adds a Destiny. So like in Watch Your Step, he's really good. Obviously, there's EPP Han to worry about with Watch Your Step. You can do some cool things with him, but if you're just looking for space Han, this guy is my guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Excellent.
He's probably one of the best images from the original game, just because it's so colorful. It's got that blue, the red, the mixture of like orange and everything. So it's a really good. It's a really nice foil. Card game wise, it's probably one of the best Hans pre-solo. It's also, I mean, like in Throne Room, you're not going to play him in Throne Room just because he's so limited. But if you're playing the Falcon, this is probably the best Han for the Falcon.
Yeah, if you're running squadron assignments and the Falcon, this is the guy that you want for sure.
Okay, so going
on. What about you, Dan?
So for Darkseid, I'm going old school. I'm going back to 1995, 96. For a card that not a lot of people like, but everybody likes to play. I'm going to go with Lateral Damage. It's a nasty little card that a lot. Like, if you get it out, it can end games. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I was actually watching doing commentary yesterday for the semifinal game of the NPC consolation bracket versus Justin Carulli and Pat Johnson. Pat was able to get this onto Justin Carulli's Rogue One, where he had Wedge and Theronet and Willard. Well, this card basically said, you're losing all three of your guys. The ship doesn't do anything, so you're owing me overflow as well. So, this little card is nasty. And
it's always one of those cards that's a thorn in your side. And I mean, there's good counters for it.
There are. And I learned yesterday that you can't use Galen to cancel this card, essentially. You can't put it into your use pile because he'd have to say any type of effect, so...
Oh, he has to say effect of any kind, not just one effect, right? Yeah, that
so
makes sense.
I was thinking like, Justin can just say, Galen, go back in your use pile. No, You can't do that. So
my favorite combo with lateral damage has always been lateral damage plus overwhelmed.
Oh yes, so good.
So much fun.
So fun.
2-card combo.
Yeah.
2-card combo. Put your flip out. Put your flip falcon out to
one
play.
with Akbar and everybody on it. You're gone.
Or like I said, it's devastating against OA. Like you play this plus overwhelmed against a flip falcon.
Because then the falcon goes to the lost file.
It goes out of play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's card of the week. I hope I didn't offend anybody with my choice. If I did, get over it.
Did you have a card of the week on the spot, Mr. Gosse?
I always like the image of Cloud City Darkseid. It's not a card that sees a lot of play.
The sector?
Yeah.
This sector, yes.
Okay.
I think Cloud City is one of the coolest looking sets out there, image-wise, from the Untitled era.
Yeah, like You Are Beaten and Clash. I always loved those ones. Captain Han.
I Am Your Father. Leia.
Yeah.
Like all the mains that were in that set. So nice.
Lando's great.
Yeah, both Lando, they're great.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to have more virtual Cloud City cards so we can put those images onto our into our decks.
I mean, at least it's an easy to acquire set, so that
way, it
Boba
is.
Fett. That's like, how do we forget Boba Fett?
Slave 1.
Yeah, like those ones are great.
Yeah.
So definitely. All right, so
wait. The best card of the entire set, Hindsight.
The one thing about Cloud City that's kind of weird is that's the set where they did all the silly like lores.
Yeah, that was like the last. That was the last one before Lucasfilm stepped in and was like, "You guys got to stop this."
Because they definitely took it way too far, and that one like the card that we use for our game, Swing and a Miss, like that lore is like a baseball announcer is like what the lore says. Whatever.
The Tabana gas miner that's running away with the ice cream.
So many. Or Jack Porkins in the dining room, like how he deploys the there. That's actually one of my favorite Easter eggs.
So
there's a lot of nice Easter eggs as well.
All right, so do you want to do the deck building challenge or the spelling challenge?
You have it. Okay, we're going to do the deck building challenge because we always do spelling last because it's so much fun.
All right, so the deck building challenge I came up with this week is a pretty unique one, I think, and I think it sort of goes along with what Gosse was telling us about what we could maybe see in set 13 with regards to solo movie. So the challenge this week is to win a game in the standard open format after winning 3 hands of Sabak during the course of the game. Light side, dark side, I don't care. But you need to win 3 hands of Sabak during the game and win with a open deck. So that is the challenge. And like when you were talking about what we could potentially see out of some solo themes, you had mentioned some gambling elements and stuff. So maybe we'll see some Sabak type stuff come out of set 13. So that's sort of where I was going with this this challenge. So.
God, that's going to be evil because we have a Sabak shield.
Yeah.
So people pulling that off.
I did forget about the shield when I thought about this.
Yeah.
Maybe people will just be nice and not play the shield against you.
Nope. Screw it. That's the challenge, Jerry.
Okay, I guess if the format would make it better, we could have it in any format. So that way you can do it in Premiere through Death Star 2 or whatever.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay, so that's a little fair.
You can bust it out in your no shield format, or you can bust it out in your old school format. I just want to see people win 3 games of Sabak and attempt to win a game, no matter what the format. Okay?
You know what? I'm just going to say this: if we can't play it at Worlds to determine the top 8, you can't play it in Open Star Wars.
There you go. All right, and I'm very excited for the spelling challenge this week because Dan, you picked a good one.
Okay.
So, Gosse, have you been around have you seen the Holotheatre spelling challenge yet?
Nope, I haven't. So please set up a rule.
So if you are watching the stream, please don't do that because we're gonna put the image up on the screen for everybody to see. So we wouldn't want you to be able to cheat. But essentially, we're gonna give you the title of a Star Wars card, and you have to spell it
to the best of your ability.
Yeah, and if you win, Dan has a prize. Is it the oversized?
So we are still doing an oversized foil legend objective.
So if you get it right, we've had Taco Bill
is the only one
so far.
Oh, before we get into this, though, I just want to thank Nutritious for completing the last week's challenge as well. He went a little he went a little crazy with his the successful one. He played it like Throne Room on Dantooine. So basically, he just played the system, didn't play any of the sites, and just was like...
Yeah, the challenge from last week, I'd say, was to win the game with DBO.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to get people to stretch their wings a little bit and play that deck, and they definitely...
wing.
So 2 times in a row, he's won. He is banned from winning this challenge. This week, after 2 wins, I am going to stipulate this from now on. If you do it 2 weeks in a row, you cannot win for the next...
Right, yeah.
Okay, so one question from my side for the spelling contest. Do I need to also say out loud the punctuation?
Well, the one that we have given you doesn't have any punctuation, so you're good there.
Okay.
But yeah, like we did...
ready?
We did Mithra Naduro for somebody, and
I think Hayes had that one.
Hayes had that one, yeah.
And we allowed him not to do place the commas where they needed to go. But yeah,
and this card apparently was just recently added to GIMP, so it's not even one that you might have come across lately. From what I've heard.
It is a Darkseid Special Edition Alien. Are you ready?
I am. So is there a time? Is there a time, or do I have a bit of time to...
You have a bit of time.
As much time as you need. It's not like 60 seconds or anything. You can take your time. So
your card of the week is...
You got it, Dan?
Half the fun for this is hearing people misspell it, so yes.
Mispronounce it.
Are you ready? Your card is Dodo Bauduito. Dodo Bauduito.
D-O-D-O.
Okay.
D-O-W-E-A-D-O.
I am sorry, sir. You got his first name right. If that's any consolation,
you got the Dodo part.
We are on first name basis.
So it's D-O-D-O-B-O-D-O-N-A-W-I-E-E-D-O.
Excellent. I'm sure I won't forget it.
So again, Taco Bill, you are the only person to complete the spelling challenge.
Yeah, he is the lone winner.
Which card did he have? Which card did he have?
I forget which one we gave him, but it was definitely a hard one.
I'm going to say this.
Go back and check.
I gave Batmouse Harrison Dula, and he missed that one.
Oh.
Yeah, that one was easy.
That was
we definitely, like I said,
it's the pressure. It's the pressure, guys.
I said it was Dodo Bondo Owedo.
This is making it extra difficult.
Yeah, I know, right? This is me. I'm sorry. I'm the guy who is like, oh, it's Hojix.
Yeah, I think I would have said it Dodo Badado Weedo.
Badondo Weedo.
Badondo.
Badon.
But yeah,
he's a musician, so that's the flow a little bit.
Yeah. He looks like
Badondo Weedo.
He looks like Greedo, but with a saxophone or maybe a
it's the Bill Clinton of the Star Wars universe.
Something like that. All right.
For all you kids out there, Bill Clinton was a president who liked to play the saxophone.
Yeah, most everybody who plays Star Wars cards probably knows that, Dan.
I don't know. I mean, Mishki might not. He's only 18.
All right, there you go. Mishki, he's 21, I think, by now. Anyways, I think that's about all we had planned for tonight's episode. Everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for our special guest host. Next week,
for having me.
Next week, we're going to have Chris Goglin on. He's the architect of the OCS. He's the architect of his Monday show. He's also the guy who basically runs the PC's store. So if you have any questions for him about the PC store and why Luke's cost $275, we can ask him. Also, Jerry is going to be going back to work, so he's going to be taking a week off. We're going to have a special guest host. Mr. Chris Kelly has volunteered his time and service. So awesome. It's going to be the double Chris and Dan show next week.
Yeah, I don't have my schedule yet, and we are opening up in a few days, so I don't want to have to commit to that. But once I know what's going on, I'll hopefully be able to get back in and do our normal thing. So thanks, guys, for filling in. Chris and Gogolin will definitely be looking forward to that show. And thanks tonight for Gosse joining us, talking Set 13. And thanks, everybody, for stopping in. We'll see y'all next week.
See everybody next week. Have a nice one.
You.